Welcome back to part 7 of our technical debt, an approach for starting the year guilt-free. This is the last installment of this. I hope you've enjoyed it. We have covered where it comes from, how to inventory it, when to share it and when not to share it, when to work on it, especially work that gets triggered by either you having a poor personal process due to the technical debt load, or there being the opportunity to do enhancements in a particular area and taking advantage of that to retire some technical debt. We've looked at how tools inside of Salesforce can help with the actual doing of the work and keep up with how you're doing. We've talked about governance, including how to answer those questions that are objective, like scale. Do remember that throughout all of this process, we're trying to remove as much subjective finger pointing, as much subjective blame. We're trying to let governance be the one that decides priorities and urgency and be the objective source of data and documentation throughout all of this process. We don't want our organization to sink. We don't want to have to leave our jobs because it's stressful. We don't want to see development slower and more expensive than it has to be. We want a great org. So now let's look at some tools that help assess what technical debt looks like in your organization. There are a lot of tools out there. There could be a presentation on every one. I'm just going to show you a few of them so you make sure you know they exist. I'm going to demonstrate the more accessible of them. In the Npsp world, you have Npsp Health Check and Lightning Optimizer. We're going to look at both of those tools. You also have a Lightning migration tool, but hopefully that's already done. If migration to Lightning hasn't been done, that is a pretty big piece of technical debt, and I would encourage you to get it done as soon as possible. Then we're going to look at some more complex ways of looking at technical debt. I'm going to demonstrate to you the where is it used feature in the settings. I'm going to demonstrate to you report on report, and then we're going to come back and just mention a couple of other things. So first, let's get started with these demonstrations. So I'm going to switch over to my org. All right, you are looking at my customized admin application. It's just a set of tabs that you can put together for yourself. You only want to make it visible to people who are admins. And it's a nice home page for a bunch of things. But I have it first set on the Npsp settings tab. It looks pretty nice these days. I understand it even looks better. To have the better, you'll have to update your Visualforce page manually. But you can directly find the settings for everything here. And the health check is what we're looking for. And there it is right there. So we're going to go to the health check and we're going to run it. And it doesn't take that long to run, even with 10,000s, 100,000 records. If you have millions of records, it obviously can take a while. If you have a governance committee, you're going to want to make sure it's okay to run the health check because it is going to use lots of API calls. But everything worked fine. It passed everything, and it ran, it ran quite a few tests. And these are all things that Npsp users have found often go wrong. And so if they're going wrong, you want to know it really quickly. So that's what's here. You'll also note in my admin app, I have a way of keeping quick track, tabs on our batches, our import batches, and whether they've been processed or not. Our import logs, we have active, I won't show it to you because there's personal data on it, but we have active imports every day. It's our Npsp data importer as our integration point. Quick access to the contact merge, and if you haven't done contact merging lately, you'll notice that Npsp is willing to show you the duplicates that are set up by native matching, or you can do it the old-fashioned way with the searching by name match. And then I have my wall of zeros here at my dashboards, quick access to them. Everything's supposed to be zero here. And it is, and you'll know, whoops, we have lots of donors without lead source that have crept up in the last 6 months. I'll try to fix that soon. We have lots of donors without estimated age. I'll try to fix that soon. We have donors without estimated gender. So we will work on those soon. We have contacts with duplicated email fields that have crept in. So we work on our dashboards monthly, our wall of zero, to try to keep things clean. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you was the next thing I wanted to show you is in setup, and it is the optimizer. The optimizer has a brand new face. You can still, optimizer used to go off, run a report, and send you a PDF. And you can still do that, but optimizer runs now inside of Salesforce and creates something much more manageable. So we're gonna open the optimizer app. And I have run the optimizer today, but you can kick off another run. It takes, in my org, it takes about 20 minutes to run it. But the optimizer now returns actionable things that you can work on independently. So here are, sorted by status, the things that I can do. It says that I have one user. I won't show it because it's personally identifiable information, but I have one user that can't log on right now because he doesn't work with us anymore, but I never actually reassigned the license. So it's flagging as a user that hasn't logged in a long time, and I should go fix that. It won't take me very long. It'll even take me to where I can do that in setup. It'll open up a tab for my users. The next thing that it's flagging for immediate action is that I have too many Lightning components on some pages, it thinks. This is because we have a lot of conditional components that show messages, error messages, or guidance. So it's flagging as too many. I probably won't do anything about that. We have some insecure default external access. We have public access to a number of objects that may or may not be necessary, and I will review that. We have sharing rules set up so that our volunteer site user can use properly. That's set up the way we want it. We have too many fields on some page layouts. We don't really use our page layouts anymore because we're fully Lightning, but we probably should fix that. And you can just go on down, and you can sort it by status, which means immediate action, or you can sort it by amount of time. So things that are really quick. Here's a number of things that it thinks I could really fix up. I don't have the detail tab on. One page contains a detail tab with 146 items, and it wants me to fix that. It's probably a page that we don't need anymore. I could open it up and delete it. You can sort it by type. So dealing with custom code or dealing with workflows. It shows you a lot of things. And that includes some things that aren't wise. So migrating workflow rules to Lightning Process Builder. I don't think that's a wise thing to do at all, to be honest with you. And it shows up, that I have a lot of these that I have 49 workflow rules that I could replace with a process builder. I don't think that's a good idea. In fact, frankly, I intend to replace them with before save record triggered flows when the time comes. But anyway, the optimizer is very helpful at finding some things. I would particularly pay attention to the immediate action, and you may scroll down to the no action required. It's nice to know that I don't have any new code using old APIs. It's nice to know that I don't have multiple Apex triggers on the same object. I don't have S controls still in use, and so on. That part is nice. It's nice to know I don't have any SKU problems with record types and page layouts and so on. So very helpful in the optimizer. Now, in our presentation next, I want to talk about some other things that are less obvious. Salesforce snuck in a really wonderful tool recently called Where Is It Used? It doesn't cover everything, but it covers a lot of things. So on our account, we have some fields and relationships, and we added we made the decision, a poor decision, to add some mailing address fields. A whole set of mailing address fields were added by us, and we'll just look at the, I don't know, mailing street. It was added by us. You can tell because of the create date and who modified it. But there's this wonderful little button called where is it used? And lo and behold, it's used in a number of layouts. And we want to remove that. And it's used in some report types. We want to remove that so that we can delete this field because we don't want this field around. We'll make sure the field is empty and make sure these references are gone. And then we will delete that field. And we'll do the same with the rest of those soon. But where is it used is a really wonderful little thing. I was going to show you another item here on my Sim app. I had already called it up. Let's see, where did I put it? It's over here. Well, I thought it was here. Let's run the report of reports. So you have to create it yourself, but you can create a report type that is oddly a report type of reports. And then you can create a report of reports. And it contains things like when was it last run and what is the name of the report and who made it and what folder is it in and when was it created and when was it last modified and by whom. But I have chosen to just show we have 1,500 reports in our org. And 350 of them were run last year. A few of them even run this year. 136 of them have already been run this year. Between these two items, we've run roughly a third of our report in the last calendar year. That's good. We don't have too many old reports. We have 131 reports that have never ever been run. Likely those were installed by managed packages. But we can review those and remove. We have some reports that haven't been run since 2013. We probably can review those and remove. The whole strategy for removing them, it doesn't really hurt anything unless they're available to your users to select. If they're available to your users to select and they choose an old report that's out of date, has wrong information on it because you've changed the way things are done since then, that hurts people. So you want to make sure that old reports aren't accessible. You don't necessarily have to delete them, but it's nice to know you can. So I think now I will go back to my presentation. And finish up. You've been really generous with your time in watching this, and I appreciate it. I hope you use the speed up button if you wanted to. So give me a second to fast forward to about slide 35 or so. We're almost at the end. We have covered assessments like Npsp Health Tech, Lightning Optimizer. If you haven't used the migration tool to move to Lightning, it's time. We've covered where is it used in settings. We talked about reported reports, and I unless I'm mistaken, I think you can do reported dashboards as well. Sometimes you need to know where something's used beyond what they show you in the fields. And this is where Workbench can come in handy. Workbench is a tool that lets you search all of the metadata in your org. There are some other tools that do this, but Workbench is a good one. You actually can modify and import metadata as well, but you can search your metadata for where fields might be used or where JavaScript might be used or so on. And then the last thing I'm just going to mention, if you're an advanced user, you can use Salesforce. Salesforce DX is available to all Salesforce admins. You don't have to be a developer just to use it. If you're an admin, Salesforce DX actually has some really cool benefits to you. But one of the things that happens is we don't have adequate backup of our metadata. And yes, you can use sandboxes to back up your metadata. I have 4 sandboxes, and once every 3 months, I refresh the sandbox so that I have a copy of all my metadata in that sandbox. But things can go wrong with that. But Salesforce DX, actually, you can connect it to your org and you can export all of your metadata. It's not all that large. And now you have a file-based copy of your metadata right on your computer that you can push to some sort of archiving system, and you have that for restoring. And to be honest with you, there are a number of admin operations that are faster done on the text file-based representation of the metadata, and then you push it back to a sandbox to check it out, and then push it to your org. So Salesforce DX can be really useful to you as an admin. We've talked about the where is it used field. So we're at the end of this presentation or class on technical debt. We've gone over definitions, examples, and how it impacts people. When I hear of orgs that are giving up on Salesforce or frankly any tool, I feel bad because I know it's really because of technical debt. They've let the technical debt accumulate so much that it's sunk their whole ship. And so they buy a new tool, which of course, by definition, starts with zero technical debt, but without proper governance, proper discipline, and proper asset management, they're just going to sink that ship too. And I read all the time about Salesforce orgs that want to do a clean start. They want to get a brand new Salesforce org and migrate all their data over there. The problem is you have to migrate all of your customizations and all of your setup. And without better management of technical debt, they're just going to burden that one as well. So I don't think either one of those are great ideas. I think you should adopt the practices we've talked about to manage your technical debt. We've talked about timing and how you can integrate retiring technical debt into all of your development and enhancement activities. It's an important topic and it deserves to be paid for as you go along. And then we've looked at some tools. So my challenge to you is don't let your ship sink. Start with good personal processes yourself. Bail water every time you do an enhancement. And don't let existing debt keep you from preventing future problems. We can all climb out of our technical debt. I have a lot, but I am retiring it slowly, maybe faster than it builds up. I am logging what I do. I have brought on help occasionally to help me get out of a bad situation. You can do this too. We can all be better. So thanks very much for watching. I know it was a long series. It's a big topic. It's a popular topic. So I wanted to dig into it and create some content for you. So have a great 2021 and do so guilt-free.